to open up the ball with legs turn and step assignment. So the key here, the turn and step assignment, the biggest key is it's really about the mechanics of balance and weight shift. And so one of the things that goes along with this assignment is in the content folder, and go ahead and click on content in FOL right now and go under documents. And the document that I'm particularly interested in is balance tutorial. And let me see here if I can copy link address. And I'm going to go like this in the chat. There we go. And so it's a PDF by Alejandro Garcia, and it's all about physics and mechanics of balance and weight shift. And it's going to be particularly relevant to what we're doing here with the ball with legs turn and step. And now let me go here. I'm going to go file, set project, and I'm going to set my project here to my Dropbox Maya project and go set. There we go. And I'm going to go file, new scene. Don't save this one. I'm going to go file. I'm going to go reference editor, and I'm going to go ahead and create a reference. And as always, I'm just going to, name it with my capital A namespace. And I'm going to get it from my assets folder because that's where I keep things I use over and over again. And in particular, I'm going to get that leg ball advanced skeleton rig V1.1 reference. And let me show you this character really quickly. Now, if you have the advanced skeleton tool set installed, it's going to come in very handy with this character. Hit the 6 key here to show with textures. Most of the controls you don't actually need to interact with on this character. The only controls, in fact, you need to work with are this control here that moves the root of the character, rotates them around like that. This control here moves the 1 foot. And this control here that moves the other foot. You may need to manipulate the pole vectors. You might need to manipulate some of these controls here in the feet to do foot rolling, stuff like that. Those middle ones there. But that's about it. Now, there's a couple little gotchas that are so important on this assignment, this leg ball turn assignment, that I'm actually going to ask everybody to raise their hand to show me that they're paying attention right now. This is how important it is for folks watching the recording afterwards. Pay close attention to what I'm about to tell you because this is important. So on the leg ball turn, this placement control here, this master or main control, if I click here, main, that's what selects it, and it moves the entire character like this. Don't use that control for this assignment, okay? It just stays at origin. You animate the character moving away from that control like that, okay? That's number 1. Number 2, don't animate with this control and leave this controller behind. Because these two controllers do the same thing, except this one moves them both together, you don't need to move this control at all. And it's called the root FKRootM. Just leave it alone as well. And in fact, I don't need you to do anything with these controls here on the torso. I don't need any shape changes or any squashing and stretching, anything like that. Just leave the character perfectly round. So the only controls I really want you to be worrying about is this control here, the root XM that moves the character around, the 2 IK feet, the pole vectors. That is it. Now, if you want to get fancy and you want to switch between IK and FK feet, you can do so. And there are these little plus signs right here. 10 means it's an IK. 0 means he's an FK. And FK means forward kinematic, means it's all rotation based. But for the most part, when you have interactions with the environment, you want to be in IK mode, which the feet, they're touching the ground, which is the environment, pretty much the entire time, which means you want to keep them in IK pretty much the entire time. Okay, so that's it. Root XM, 2 IK feet, the pole vectors, those 2 knee controls here, pull leg left, pull leg right. That's it, 5 controls. I highly recommend get in the habit of grab those controls that you're interacting with for your blocking. Go ahead and make a pose to shelf button to select them so that you just click that and you've got all the controls that you're animating with. Okay, that would be my recommendation. Any questions about that? Is there anything at all unclear about that? Probably the most common issue I see when folks start out this ball with legs turn is that they get into trouble by using the wrong controls. Now, there's one other thing that I'm going to ask you to pay attention to. So go ahead and lower your hand to show me you're paying attention right now. Excellent. Good job. Rogelio Matakshi. Savnaz, so you paying attention? Matakshi? Perfect. Okay, good job. So the other thing that I want to emphasize is really important. It's in the assignment description. No pivots, no pirouettes, no leaping in the air to get turned around. One of the requirements for this assignment is the character makes a 180-degree turn. That means that they're facing in one direction at the beginning of the scene and they end up facing in the other direction, the opposite direction, a full 180-degree turn. And they get there by stepping and turning and taking a few steps to get turned around. And then they also have a couple of steps. You can do it in any order. You can, have them step forward and then turn themselves around. You can have them step, turn, get turned around, whatever combination you want. What I recommend is shoot some video of yourself simply acting it out. And in fact, on the page, the demonstration page, that's linked from the submission folder, you'll see video that I shot of myself just acting the thing out. And then I create the poses that I require. No pivots, no pirouettes, no fancy tricks to sort of avoid animating the whole point of the exercise, which is the shifting of weight to move the character around. And the mechanics of that are pretty straightforward. Okay, so I'm going to go over that really briefly. And if you read the stuff by Alejandro Garcia, the Balance and Mechanics document, the PDF, is going to cover it. But here is everything you need to know about animating this assignment. If you want to take a step, the first thing that you have to do, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make my little button here to grab the controls. And I'm just going to actually do just these 3 primary controls. That's all I'm going to do. I'm going to say, let's go ahead and make a button to grab those controls. I'm going to go block like this, selection shelf. There we go. There I got my blocking. So I go like this. Frame 1, character starts out. And I want them to take a step. And I'm just going to go like this. I'm just going to do the pose I'm going to do that. So the next pose that I need is I need the character to shift their weight off of one of the feet. So if I want this foot here, his left foot, to lift up and move, I'm going to go ahead and shift his weight onto the other foot like this. And I'm going to make sure my character is balanced. And I'll talk more about checking balance in the next class after we take an attempt at this. But I need to shift the weight first. I can't lift this foot yet until I've shifted the weight off to it. So I'm going to grab my blocking control. So here's the starting pose. Next pose, shifting the weight. The next pose I need is now the character can lift this foot now that he's gotten his weight off of it. Although lifting that foot exerts leverage, which means he has to compensate a little bit for it. So I'm going to shift his weight even more. And I can shift weight by rotating the character or translating the character's root. Either one works, but I just want it to look like he's balancing over that foot. So shift the weight, lift the foot. Then I can plant this foot into its new location. So I'm going to say he's going to take like a half step forward. So I'm going to move this foot forward, put it down on the ground, and I'm going to go ahead, rotate, zero those guys out. Now you can see I'm struggling to reach where I want that foot to go. So I'm going to lower him down a little bit and I'm going to shift him a teensy bit forward. He's still over that foot. No problem there. And now that this foot's on the ground, he doesn't have to have quite so much weight over there like that. So it's shift the weight, lift the foot. Oh, I actually overwrote my one pose there, silly Dave. Let me go back here, get that pose back. There we go. So grab my blocking controls, lift the foot, and then I'm going to go ahead and move the foot. So shift his weight down, forward, grab this foot, move it ahead, get it down on the ground flat like so. Est key, there we go. So he's shifting his foot forward. Rotate, and he doesn't need to be quite so far forward. Let's grab this guy, get him down on the ground like so. I'm going to get him out just a little bit further there like that. There we go. There we go. Grab block, est key, est key, est key, est key. So character starts. shifts the weight, lifts the foot, plants the foot, and then finally he can shift his weight onto the other foot. So he's going to shift his weight forward. He's going to shift his weight to the side. And I can shift that weight by translating or rotating the character. You can see as I rotate the character forward, his mass moves forward. As I rotate the character back, his mass moves back. So I can both rotate and translate that root XM to make it look like the character's weight is shifting. I'm going to line those 2 feet up, look up, and just go, there we go. It looks like it's nice and balanced. Go 90 degrees to that view. There we go. And there we go. So shift the weight, lift the foot, plant the foot, shift the weight. And then it all starts over again. If I want to move this foot, I go ahead and I do the same thing. So I'm going to grab my blocking Control S key. I'm going to go to frame 6, and I cannot move this foot yet until I make sure all the weight is shifted off of it. So I'm going to go like this, shift his weight, and you can see I'm struggling with the reach here. So I can go ahead and grab, for example, oops, let me get this out of my way here. I can grab this little ring in the middle and use it to roll the foot forward a bit so it stays in contact with the ground. Go back here, zero him out like that. So his foot is still in contact with the ground until I get all of his weight off of it, or most of his weight. I can't really lift that foot. So I shift the weight, then I can lift the foot. So the next pose, lift the foot, and I can go ahead and zero this guy out. 0. It's the key. I'm going to go rotate that toe, sort of like it's dragging behind where it was before it was touching down there. So I'm going to go like this. Lift, lift like that. Grab this root, move it up a little bit. Check the balance of my pose. Make sure it looks like he's balanced nicely. There we go. Shift the weight, lift the foot, plant the foot. So again, boom, 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 boom. Go here. I'm going to plant the foot in its new position. So I'm going to bring it forward here like this. Put it flat on the ground like that. There we go. Pull him down to help with that reach. But I'm still keeping his weight over that other foot because he's just planted that foot. So he can't put weight on it yet. It just got there. Plant the foot and then shift the weight. So now I grab the root and I move his weight evenly between the 2 feet like that. And I'm going to check my balance, go to that balance beam view. It looks like the 2 feet are lined up on top of each other like this. There we go. And then I check 90 degrees that view. It looks like his weight is evenly distributed. So that process again is shift the weight, lift the foot, plant the foot, shift the weight, lift the foot, plant the foot, shift the weight like that. And those are the mechanics of footsteps. That's it. That's all you need to know. Okay. Very simple stuff. Just remember, you can't lift a foot until you've gotten the character's weight off of that foot. And you can't put the character's weight back onto that foot until it's arrived at its next destination. That's it. It's not rocket science. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to do it. Any questions? That's a very speedy demo of what it is we're doing with this leg ball turn. Now, it's much easier if you shoot reference. If you just shoot out a video, acting it out, make sure you trim the video down so it fits the assignment length exactly by the frame. Make sure it's 24 FPS. Piece of cake. It's super simple stuff. Any questions?
Could you repeat the lift the foot, shift the weight again, please?
Yeah. So the mechanics are the character shifts their weight, gets their weight off of the foot they want to move. They lift that foot that they want to move. Then they plant the foot at its new destination. Then they can shift the weight back onto that foot. So it's shift the weight, lift the foot, plant the foot, shift the weight. It's a super bullet tour of the exercise, but hopefully it helps clarify what it is we're doing with this leg ball turn and step.